Hello, I'm Min Kobayashi and this is What's for Thought. Today I am going to be going through my wrap-up for January, which I know is very early. These are all the books I read between January 1st and January 17th. The reason why I am doing this early is because I am starting a readathon on January 20th and I've already read 13 books, so I want to be able to talk about them and not have a video forever long. First of all, I'm going to do by star rating. My 1-star books are ones that I just did not like. I did not think that they were very good books. A beloved or hated book, depending on who you ask, The Catcher and the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I don't dislike the book so much as I understand what Salinger was trying to do. I appreciate what he was doing, but at the same time, when the narrator and the only consistent person throughout the novel is one of the most difficult people to read, it just makes the book impossible to read. I understand the importance historically of this book, but as a 21st century reader, I can't appreciate it as much. Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This was probably a mistake. I read Crimson Bound in May of last year and I kind of hated it. I was like, well, this might be better. I'll give it another chance. And it started off really well and just got worse. It's a retelling, so it should have been quite predictable, but I thought that they were going to go in a unique way, and everything that they went in unique was very predictable. The narrator was glorified for being cruel and kind of a terrible person, and unless they are trying to make an anti-hero or someone who is a villain, but she was supposed to be like this great person. I didn't like the romance very much. I didn't see any development. It seemed very physical and fickle, and also one that I should have known not to read, but I decided to finish the duology, which, spoiler alert, is not a duology. One Dark Throne by Kendar Blake. I know it's a beloved, and I just wish it was what it had been promised. If I had known that it was pretty much a romance book, I probably would not have entered it, and I would be perfectly okay with that. My 2-star books are books that are good, I just probably wouldn't reread them. And I actually only have one book on here, and that would be The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman. It was a short story. It was a very creative retelling of Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. My 3-star books are solid books. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I think that this book was a very important book to be read, and it covered a very terrible but necessary topic. However, as an overall book, I did not find it to be mesmerizing or amazing the way that people did. Of Mice and Men by John Denbach. This is a really good book and also a really terrible book. It's a book about the cruelness of humankind and about how the American dream can never be recognized. It was written in the Great Depression, so, you know, it's not going to be all happy and dandy. And then I have Cousin Bet by Honoré de Balzac. This book was really good. It made me want to read more of his works. It's set in France and it covers this woman who is a middle-aged spinster who has to rely on the generosity of her very condescending relatives, and it has a little bit of a twist in it which makes it a little bit more malicious and revengeful, and I thought it was very entertaining. It was very funny. It was great social commentary. I read Girl in Translation by Jean Kwok. I thought this book was very well done. It was not the beautiful writing that I normally like, but I felt very immersed in this story. It covers a girl named Kimberly Chang from being in grade 6 to the end of high school, and then at the end it jumps 12 years ahead to kind of see where she is in life. I thought it was very good description of poverty and immigration in the United States. I loved that it was not a fairy tale spin of it. Hello by William Shakespeare. It was a true tragedy. Tell him of one who loved not wisely but well. It was a story of devotion and jealousy, of friendship and betrayal. I have 4 stars, which would be Annabelle Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. I am in love with the words of Edgar Allan Poe. I read The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine, which was such a relief. I always thought retellings was one of my favorite genres, losing my confidence in it, but I've been reinstated. This is a beautiful book. It was very original in the way that it told the story of Snow White, and I'm excited to continue on. It has a very strong brother-sister relationship between the character of Snow White, Lorelai, and her brother Leo, which is touching beyond. The magic is great, and it has consequences, which is awesome. Great relationships, like the people feel real in it. I laughed out loud throughout a bunch of it, but also was like touched. I have The Smell of Other People's Houses, which I did an entire review of. Highly recommend it. Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, which I also completely loved. It's a new favorite. The paranormal like satire, but also deals with some pretty heavy ordinary life issues. The mental illness in this novel is portrayed with such sensitivity and power. I've had very few books in which mental illness is described as well as in this book, and it also tackled things like first love. What does it mean to be in love? It had really strong friendship. They all had relationships with each other that were unique and different, and I love seeing that. Thank you for coming to my middle of the month wrap up. Happy reading. Good luck in all your endeavors.
I can still remember